Hello. So, one thing I did want to talk about is something that isn't talked about enough, and it's called survivor's guilt. And this comes from many different forms. It's not just cancer patients that go through it, there's people in our armed forces that go through it, there's people that are in car accidents that go through it, people that struggle with addiction that also go through it. It just happens. And what it is it's when you survive and somebody else dies, and then you feel guilty about it. I think that makes sense, right? If I was with someone in a car accident and I was driving, and somehow there was an accident and they were to die and I were to live, I would feel terrible. So I would definitely hold some guilt with that. So I'm not saying that all survivors' guilt needs to be transformed, but if you think about it, when it comes to somebody being sick, whether it be with cancer or with another addiction, I'll share my story with you and like what I'm kind of feeling with survivor's guilt. There was a lovely girl. First of all, let's go back to the first one that happened. There's this gentleman that I work with. He's older than me, probably could be my dad. His sister got diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma within the last year or so. She went through chemo, she was good, then it came back. All of a sudden she died 3 months later, out of the blue. It was in her bones, super aggressive. Tried to get into CAR T, they shipped her cells out, but they said that like they couldn't work with the cells that were there. And then she died, and it made me sad because it was close to home. It's somebody going through something similar to what I'm going through. Even though everybody's individual case is so different, it was still so real because I saw how it affected somebody that I cared about, right? Then we fast forward to, there was this girl by the name of Jen. I know, great name. She was in a cancer support group that I'm in on Facebook called the Badass Lympho Homies. And then she created her own little group specifically for women to ask women questions, so some questions that men don't need to be a part of that we all have after we go through everything. So as part of that, I actually ran into her at the hospital here one day, and we would follow each other on social media, always looking at, like, she was always doing great things for holidays, which is part of the reason why I have my gnomes with me and my Christmas tree. Just a little bit of that cheer, because it definitely goes a long way. She ended up getting put inpatient to do CAR T, and we knew we were both coming in around the same time. She was in here on Thanksgiving, so a month ago, right? So we would chit-chat about things and just about where we were at with life, and she ended up passing away the day before Thanksgiving, and that hit me really, really hard. That was the first time in months that I had shed actual tears from my eyes. I'm super emotional and I can cry about anything, but the tears will come to my eyes. I just won't let them out, and I don't know why that is, but I have a book that I'm going to read called The Emotion Code that might help me to break some of that down. So that happened, and that was super sad. Then turn around, and my uncle, who was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma about 1.5 years ago, almost 2 years ago, he actually passed away yesterday morning. Not necessarily from the cancer, but from other things that come from going through treatment, on top of possibly being exposed to the coronavirus. And it's just a scary, scary time. So I do have a lot of guilt, I would say, in a way. Or actually, I don't have any guilt because I couldn't have done anything to save any of those people. So it's not something that I can actually feel guilty for. But is it like survivor's remorse? Like I feel a type of way about it? Absolutely. But instead of sitting here feeling bad and being emotional about it, I'm using that as like the fuel to light my soul on fire and to push me forward to do other things to help people. So I guess what I really just wanted to do was to let you guys know that even when bad shit happens, you can either take it and let it really poorly impact your life, or you can take it and have it launch you forward to do something with a purpose. So take every bad thing that happens. Look, my uncle died yesterday. He was my godfather. We were very close. My dad's youngest brother. I just got a little teary-eyed. Like, I'm not sitting here hysterically crying because I know that he's on my side, watching over me, pushing for me to go further ahead. And on the whole other end of it, like, I gotta push further ahead for this because enough people that I know have lost their lives fighting the same battle that I'm fighting. So if we can all just take that little bit of, like, I almost want to say like self-pity in a way. I sometimes feel it is, and just turn it around. And I don't know if it needs to make you angry, excite something else in you, but take it and transform that into something else and be productive. Like, what can you do with that energy is one of the things that always comes into my head. So there's my little spiel about that.